Hi everyone, this is Red Hill Eagle, and this is a brand new TEW 2020 series, Who Hired a Hitman? It's December 1997. Bret Hart has just signed for the WCW. But first of all, we have a Monday Nitro to get through, so let's kick it off. And the show starts with an angle. It's a promo from Sting, who's in the ring, but he is interrupted by Raven and his flock. And he comes along and says, "This is meant to be us. We're meant to be out here now, doing our thing, telling people how good we are. What gives you the right to just come out here and think that you should be given the time? You know, you may be a big star, a falling star, but an aging star, but a star nonetheless. But that still doesn't give you the right to take our place." And Sting tries to kind of back up a little bit, and maybe apologizes, but then he's interrupted again by Eric Bischoff. And Bischoff comes out and says, "Look, let's just get on with some action, shall we? This is what the people want. So I'm going to book a main event. And seeing as you two seem to have some beef, Raven, you're going to take on Sting tonight." And that rating and that segment gives us a 68. The action kicks off with Goldberg against Kidman. Didn't have much heat and it had terrible wrestling. It was only a 5-minute affair, a rating of 35, but Goldberg gets the win. Obviously, this is December 1997, so he is at the beginning of his streak. And then we have Gene Okerlund, and he is interviewing the NWO. Not the entire stable, but Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Randy Savage, and of course Eric Bischoff. And Hogan is taking the lead as he does with Bischoff, I guess, and they're talking about a new signing that they have made. The NWO are announcing a new member next week, one of the biggest stars in the business. You'll have to tune in next week to find out who that is. And that's a segment rating of 85. Sting is then with JJ Dillon being interviewed about what happened earlier and what has just happened with the NWO, and he basically just says, the NWO have got to be dealt with now. You know, everyone's had enough of them. You know, who the hell do they think they are, taking over, doing what they're doing and just causing disruption? And so he says that he's actually starting to build a bit of a team of his own. And that's a rating of 67. Vicious and Delicious then take on Rick Martel and Ray Trader. This was just a kind of throwaway match, really. I'm not very used to booking this product. It's Crash TV, and I won't be booking it as Crash TV. I'm going to book it the best I can. I am going through the process in-game of changing that product. I'm really not used to it. The matches have to be shorter. You know, there's a lot more angles than matches on TV. I'm not used to doing that, so I struggled a little bit to book this show. But I got there, and as I say, there's a couple of kind of just to get a few people on the card and a couple of throwaway matches. But in this one, it's a Vicious and Delicious that get the win, and they win it in 6 minutes 19 seconds when Buff Bagwell pinned Rick Martel, and it's a rating of 60. Lex Luger then cuts a promo on Buff Bagwell. Those two are in the middle of some kind of feud at the moment, so it's a promo from Lex Luger, rating of 63. Roddy Piper is then promoting upcoming WCW live events. Again, I was just kind of trying to stick angles in because I don't know, I just really struggled to book so many angles. So I just kind of thought, well, let's have a kind of Roddy Piper. Maybe it's a voiceover, and he's voiceovering, a WCW live event next week in blah blah blah, and then the following week it's in blah blah blah. Buy your tickets now, sort of thing. So I'll probably be doing that for a few weeks until the product does change to something that I'm much more used to booking, and there'll be, less angles. But that's a rating of 70. Steven Regal then takes on Diamond Dallas Page, and it's Page that gets the win in 5 minutes 3 seconds. It's a rating of 66. We then have Kurt Hennig versus Chris Jericho, and Goldberg versus Conan announced for Starrcade. So 2 matches there announced for our end of month pay-per-view. I guess there's a debate as to whether it's the big one for WCW. Is it a Super Brawl or Starrcade? Must admit, I wasn't a WCW fan. I think it's Starrcade, but Super Brawl was probably a very close second. But either way, these 2 matches have been announced for Starrcade. A rating of 47. Rick Steiner and Scott Steiner, the Steiner brothers, are then cutting a promo with their manager Ted DiBiase. Nothing special about this one, just a promo with this tag team, and it's a rating of 66. They are, of course, our World Tag Team Champions. Eddie Guerrero then takes on Blitzkrieg in a Cruiserweight Championship match, and Eddie Guerrero gets the win quite easily in 4.5 minutes. It's a rating of 44. Nothing special about this one. I'm not even going to look at the recap gimmick changes because Blitzkrieg was a one-night deal. I wanted to get someone else on for Guerrero to fight against, who's a lightweight. That Cruiserweight division isn't something I'm interested in booking, so I'm going through the motions for a few months. We'll probably phase it out somewhere along the line. Guerrero, of course, is a superb wrestler and he's great in the game, so I want to keep him around despite my usual I don't usually like to book people that are lightweight. There are exceptions, and Eddie Guerrero is one of them, so I want to keep him around. But as for the title, it will probably phase out. A rating of 44. Randy Savage then cut a promo with his manager Elizabeth. Again, nothing too special about this one, just to get another angle on the card. It's a promo. Randy Savage, we all know he's brilliant. He does, however, say that he's out to prove himself. He's out to prove that he's still got it. You know, he's part of the NWO, but he wants to know that in himself he can still do it alone. Although, yes, he is part of the NWO. That's more kind of a friendship thing. But as far as his in-ring performances are concerned, as far as his contests are concerned, he wants to know that he can still be one of the top guys. Rating of 88. Ric Flair is then interviewed by Gene Okerlund, and we've got a feud here between Ric Flair and La Parka. I want to get La Parka up the card a little bit. I think he's great. So again, I wasn't a WCW fan. I don't know what he was like, and I don't think he ever reached the heights, perhaps, that maybe he could have done. But in game, I am looking to push him, so I've put him in a feud with Flair. Flair himself is only well known. He's not one of our top guys at the moment. But I just thought, just another feud to get on there, and this is just Ric Flair sort of talking about La Parka's chances of becoming a future star. It's the very genesis of this feud here. He's not having a go at La Parka. He's not being derogatory towards him. He's just discussing with Gene Okerlund, yeah, I've heard things about La Parka. Has he got it? Well, I don't know. I'm not so sure. Maybe he needs to come up against someone like me to sort of prove himself. And it's kind of just the initial kick-off for that feud. Rating of 64. La Parka is then in a match. He's teaming with Ice Train, and they are coming up against Harlem Heat. Nothing special about this one either, really. Rating of 48. Not great, but Harlem Heat get the victory. They're the guys we're going to be pushing against these two, really. I mean, yes, I want to push La Parka, but I don't want to be too eager about it. And I think Harlem Heat I think it's also important to be pushing, certainly Booker T, so they get the victory here. And next up, it's a taped promo video of the Giant. It's kind of showing the menacing side of the Giant. A little bit disappointed this only got 56, really. I need to check his stat for menacing. I would have thought it would be quite high, but maybe not quite as high as I hoped. 56 for a menacing video of the Giant. And then we come into our main event. This really helps. 94 rating for Sting against Raven. And Sting gets the victory in 8 minutes 14. When Raven was disqualified after Hollywood Hulk Hogan ran in and attacked Sting. And then post-match, the NWO beat Sting down. Not the whole NWO, but the main NWO, as I like to call them, I guess. Hollywood Hogan, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. But the Giant comes in to make the save. And it's a rating of 81 overall. So 77 total. Did lose us popularity in 8 regions, but we did increase in 24 other regions. Yeah, need some improvements. I need that product to hurry up and change because I really am not used to that. It's lots of angles. I could have less angles and give them more time, but a lot of my angles were kind of rated on overness and things, and of course, if you have them going on for too long in game, it dings your ratings. So I had to be a little bit careful. Maybe I could have a few more backstage brawls and that sort of thing. But again, how long can you sit and watch one of those? So yeah, I really just waiting for that product to change and I can go back to booking what I know best. But I hope you've enjoyed this one. Join me again soon for episode 2. And let's all have a think about who that new signing for the NWO could be. See you soon. Goodbye.